The next Star Wars film is shooting in California. How do we know? Because there's a massive tax credit waiting if they can only move the production to California. This would make it the first Star Wars production not shot in London. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, hello. I am Jonas J. Campbell. Good morning to you and bright suns and all that. Vash Sky, is the Force with you today?
I think the Force is with me, and as I come in from Star Tours, well, I think we're here to talk about some Star Wars. Am I right?
Let's hope we sit next to a Wookiee.
Yeah, exactly. Or a backhanding Admiral Akbar. That was pretty good.
Oh, that'd be that's right. We wanted to talk about this story out of Deadline. Other outlets are also reporting it. But Dominic Patton here with this story. The Mandalorian and Grogu lands one of California's largest tax credit awards ever, the first Star Wars flick to be shot in Golden State. The Star Wars franchise is coming to shoot in California for the first time with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. They keep using italics, although Bob Iger called this the next Star Wars film that will have Mandalorian and Grogu in it. So I have some suspicion that that's not the final title. And that would be good because they spend too much. There are too many movies from Disney right now that are literally the name of the main character. But yes. Moving on. And the Golden State is paying out its weight in tax incentive gold to have the Bounty Hunter saga made within state lines. This will probably be good because if they don't shoot it in California, me and Valiant Renegade won't be able to investigate how much it cost them to actually make this thing. To be specific, that is the total tonnage of $21.755 million in conditional tax credits for the Jon Favreau directed film. Another plus for Star Wars that Jon Favreau will be directing it. With a new Fantastic Four, Gladiator 2, and a new season of The Last of Us on his dance card, it is unclear right now if SAG Award winner Pedro Pascal will be resuming his role of Din Djarin and teaming back up with the charming Baby Yoda for the Mandalorian movie. That is actually kind of horrifying news right there. Vash, what did they do here? What did they just do?
They just released that Disney has no plan once again, right? We heard about this with Moana 2 being adapted from a Disney Plus series now to a film scheduled to release in November by the Vancouver studio. That they didn't have the voice talent of the original Moana or many other characters, including
Dwayne The Rock
Johnson. Yeah, right. So now they're saying, yeah, we don't know if we have Pedro Pascal for this. That's amazing. I mean, you see this company just shifting, or I should say pivoting as quickly as possible. And well, this is how it happens, folks.
Right. It just goes to show that all of these surprises that happen on earnings call, the announcement of Moana 2, which was a Disney Plus series, and they wanted to get it off of Disney Plus so they could make money on it. And so they've now made it into, oh, it's a movie. And so they can hide the amount of money that they're spending on that. I wonder if the tax credits will also increase there. So there might be some cost savings there. This $60 billion in quote unquote turbocharging the parks, by the way. That's $60 billion over 10 years, over 10 parks. So like $600 million. And by the way, it costs $23 billion a year to run the parks. So there's questions there as to whether or not that is actually an increase. I can't look at an announcement there and see that there wasn't a little bit of haste put on it. Of course, that sports JV as well. And I'm trying to move through this as quickly as possible. You can find other videos on this channel that are speaking very specifically on this topic. That sports JV that they announced on the earnings call, that was so surprising that even the NFL and the NBA were surprised at the announcement of their JV with that's a joint venture between Warner Brothers and Fox and Disney. So
even the Epic Games things, right? I mean, Iger has recently had to come out and say, yeah, it's not for a couple of years. And then the stock cooled in terms of its enthusiasm.
Right. And let's hope it doesn't cool too much. But at the same time, let's return to the article and focus on the fact that they do not have their main star in place. That being said, maybe he'll sign on for just a few million to do that voice work while Lateef Crowder and I think Brandon Wayne would be in the suit. But let's continue on. What is known is that the $21.7 million in tax credits is one of the biggest allocations in California Film Commission history. Put another way, they won't be getting the $22.4 million that Bumblebee got in 2017. By the way, John Cena in that one. And he follows me on Twitter because I'm very important. But it tops the $20.8 that Captain Marvel was awarded 7 years ago. $20.2 that Quentin Tarantino's supposed last film, Number 10, received last September. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I actually didn't know that Captain Marvel was filmed in California. I thought it was filmed in Georgia, where all those Marvel productions are usually produced. But this is a lot here, and look, California has had a real tough time in incentivizing studios to come back. You know, obviously they've filmed in Canada, or these productions, I should say, they filmed in Canada, Georgia, and all these different places, and it's like they really need to up the incentives for people to come back and film there. It looks like they are getting their way, but for Star Wars itself, this is a huge deal. I mean, Star Wars productions have been going back to Pinewood or London since, what, 1977 with the original Star Wars? So it's like, this is huge.
And I just need to emphasize here, having a Star Wars production film in the United States is a big deal, because if we look at Disney Star Wars, there's at least 2 Disney Star Wars productions that were above the $500 million mark in cost. That would be Force Awakens, which was Foodles UK over there, and what was the other one? I don't even care what the name of the one for The Rise of Skywalker was, but both of those productions easily hit $1 billion in production costs.
Man,
so
that is extraordinary.
One, this speaks to the fact that if they're shooting this thing for 120 million, they're going to be using the volume a lot. And 2, I don't know that Disney currently has the restraint to rein in Star Wars to this point. I actually like the idea of a low budget Star Wars film that means that it could be, I say 120 million. That's not low budget, but you know, if they could rein it in to the point where it's a more intimate story, or maybe they plan this thing out. I don't think they have the time to plan this thing out, really. But there's a possibility that the movie would be better shooting at that speed. But I don't know.
We do get a little indication on what this production might actually look like. Deadline says right here, estimated to be hiring 500 crew members, 54 cast members, and 3,500 background players for the 92 filming days in California this year. The Mandalorian Grogu is expected to generate a record-breaking $438,000 in qualified expenditures and below the line wages. So this is a pretty sizable production, but I do agree with you, Jonas. You know, expect the volume to come into play as Iger is really looking at the purse strings associated with these productions going forward.
Right, and looking here, it looks like there's a $73 billion deficit. For the state and the entertainment industry going through its painful great contraction. That would be the fact that less movies and less TV shows are being made. I wonder if there could be some cultural attribution to that. We won't get into that right now, though. For a more than $330 million per year program revitalized in 2014 as a job creation centric and seeking to attract big budget movies back to the home of Hollywood, that's a pretty big number, even more so in the currently anemic state of industry post strikes. Of course, August 1st marks the potential strike date of IATSE. That is the other union. That is the production workers union,
right?
Which is a huge blaring red light there that all of the studios need to be worried about. They have pre-authorized a strike, the IATSE members, so we could be looking at another strike right in the middle of this, and that would. Yeah. That would provide Disney another excuse, because they do love excuses, but also it would be detrimental to the entire industry.
And we're getting indications they are, like you said, not even just voting for it, but they are basically saying we will gladly shut this town down again if we don't get our way. So that right there, let's be careful about the post-strike language used, because we got to handle that one first.
Right. Now, just to answer your question, by the way, it looks like Captain Marvel was partially filmed in Louisiana, and the California part alone generated $137 million into the California economy in 2018. Now, that would indicate to me that they probably, if they filmed a lot of that in Louisiana, and I think they might have even filmed some of it in the UK, that would indicate to me that those budgets might be a little bit bigger than they were indicating before. So
perhaps
looking at who else got this, Amazon is working on a Chris Pratt led film called Mercy, or maybe it's a TV show. I'm going to say this is probably a film. And The Mandalorian, there were 15 films altogether, and they're hoping to bring in $400 million here. Oh, and look, a untitled Disney live action project is up here from Switch It Up Productions. I'm gonna need to look into that one to find out what that fella is right there. Maybe that is that Lilo and Stitch film that is going to Disney Plus. Who knows?
That could be.
Here.
That's interesting.
Now,
Do you think,
go ahead,
Jonas, there's any chance that this could be maybe partially filmed in California, not unlike how Captain Marvel was filmed partially in Louisiana and California, respectively?
I don't know. And I also don't know if John Williams would be using the London Symphony. Or I don't know. They have not confirmed any attachment here from John Williams. And Ludwig Göransson, of course, is the guy who did the soundtrack to The Mandalorian. That guy's fantastic, by the way. I think he does really great work. So let no one say that we don't compliment things here on That Park Place. Vash, do you have any thoughts here before we wrap this up? I think this is a big deal. One, to move the center of the Star Wars universe over to California, that being probably Manhattan Beach, California, if I'm just guessing. And of course, to confirm that this film appears to be happening before the Rey movie.
Yes, and the fact that they really don't have anybody necessarily attached to this, at least in Deadline's estimation. So that means they're pivoting and pivoting quickly. This is more desperation from the Walt Disney Company, who is flailing. I wonder if Jon Favreau has anything to do with this, by the way, moving productions from Pinewood to Southern California. This is a very interesting developing story, and one we'll keep track on for you guys at home.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now my suspicion there is that they want to keep a very close eye on this production. Yes, as Emperor Palpatine, of course, watched young Anakin Skywalker back when he was played by Jake Lloyd.
We'll be taking an interest in your career with great interest. Is that right?
That's it. That's something. Yeah, something like that. I need to go watch those again. All right, but we want to throw this out to our viewers here. What do you think about this? Is this a good thing? We'll have a nice American-made Star Wars film. We'll have American villains instead of all of the Death Star. There won't be a Death Star in this. Well, maybe it is. Disney puts Death Stars in everything. All of those British actors that play the Empire will all of a sudden be talking with Valley accents. Who knows? Give us your thoughts below. Like this video if you like this video. Leave a comment if you don't mind. Consider sharing it out if you know someone who is interested in film production and, of course, The Mandalorian. And if you don't mind, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.